Hello and welcome to Startup Street. I'm Arundhati Ramnan and these are the top headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. EdTech firm Classroom files its DRHP to launch an initial public offering on the SME platform of the BSE, proposes a mix of fresh issue and an OFS by existing shareholders. Proceeds will be used to repay debt and strengthen tech stack. Peak 15 and Tiger Global-backed ProcCap nearly doubles revenue in fiscal year ended March 2025, reduces losses by 87%. ProcCap facilitates debt capital for underserved micro and small businesses. AI apps building platform Portkey bags $15 million in a Series A round led by Elevation Capital, will use the funds to enhance support for agent-based systems. India signs the Pax Silica Declaration in a significant move to strengthen technology partnership with the United States. Pax Silica is a US-led initiative aimed at securing supply chains for AI and critical minerals. NVIDIA is close to finalizing a $30 billion investment in OpenAI, replacing a previously announced $100 billion multi-year partnership, according to the Financial Times. Sam Altman sidestepped a question on NVIDIA when asked by CNBC TV18, but reiterated that the company needs more compute. The India AI Impact Summit is underway, and CNBC TV18's Aishwarya Anand caught up with InMobi founder and CEO Naveen Tiwari on how AI is reshaping digital advertising, consumer platforms, and the future of monetization.
We have to understand the labeling laws. I don't think we have had time to look through them yet. But let's talk about the construct of what you're saying. Okay. The construct is that it should carry it if it is required, and that is absolutely okay, because end of the day, what we are really trying to do is make advertising very personal. And what that means is that with artificial intelligence, we should be able to do creatives which are very specific to a user. And that is okay that they are generated through artificial intelligence, because we're not trying to mislead. I think the fundamental issue is that, are you trying to mislead? That's not the scenario at all. It is to say, hey, we'll make it a lot more personal so that it does not seem jarring to people, right? So in my view, with AI being put into the creatives, internet is going to become more beautiful, which is exactly what we would want, whether we are thinking about commercializing the internet or whether we're thinking about it from a consumer lens.
Absolutely. Now, AI is now a core part of every advertising stack, correct? So how is InMobi using AI to redefine mobile ad targeting and user engagement in 2026?
You got to think about advertising very differently. If you think about the future of advertising, you got to think about the future of consumption first, correct, right? Because advertising follows consumption, it does not lead consumption. So if you think about that, if the consumption is going to be led through generative AI applications, which are effectively going to look at, using LLMs, both text-based and visual-based, you got to essentially think about embedding your advertising model inside the LLMs. Absolutely. And therefore, look, at the end of the day, what is the core objective of advertising? It is not to disrupt the experience. It is to essentially make any ecosystem free for consumers to use. It enables democratization of the technology, right? So when the internet came, advertising allowed it to become democratized and to be accessed by everybody. Similarly, for artificial intelligence, advertising is going to democratize that and be used by everybody. And therefore, you have to think about how do you embed a very transparent economic model in various different LLMs, etc., that applications will start to use. And I think advertising would become far more embedded into the content than it has ever been. And so we are very excited about it, because if you think about it, when the world moved from traditional consumption to digital consumption, we all used more content because it was subsidized, but also because advertising became more efficient. When you move from a world of digital technologies or internet technologies to AI-led technologies, the big shift is in the delta of intelligence. And therefore, our belief is that advertising will play an even bigger role in democratizing AI-led all of these applications that are going to come out. Because think about this $500–600 billion that has gone into the electricity, into chips, into data centers, etc. How are you going to monetize that? how are you going to essentially
Yeah.
generate anything out of it? So therefore, advertising is going to play a huge role in making that happen.
Absolutely, and InMobi is empowering millions of
Billions.
billions.
Yeah.
Billions, okay, billions of mobile users with insights. So, what are the biggest ethical considerations you grapple with when deploying AI at scale?
Well, you got to think about, look, AI in a very interesting way. If you think about digital technologies, right? Digital technologies allowed for a lot of disruption in the consumption because you could manipulate the experience of users, not through ads or anything in general, right? So if you think about social networks, all these social platforms have been manipulating consumers' psyche, have been dealing with them in a very different way, and creating a need out of, probably wrong incentives for human behavior. But I think we have a chance to think about, as this new technology comes up, learning from the past to say, hey, AI should be far more ethical. What does that mean? It needs to be transparent. AI has this ability to say, cannot be a black box. It should be able to have your reasoning of why you showed something to be transparent. And so think about it. If you think about AI, we should be making, what does ethical AI mean? It means, please tell the user why you showed them what you showed them. And if you're able to explain the why, that means you're being transparent. Think of it in a very overtly simple example of that is, you used to go to restaurants, the kitchen would be at the back. In order to improve performance of kitchens, they actually made it open. Frankly, exactly the same thing's happening, but now it's open kitchen. Open kitchen leads to better practices. That's what AI needs to do. It needs to be transparent.
And on What's Brewing today, India's automotive sector is undergoing a massive transformation from mechanical machines to software-defined connected platforms. And right at the heart of this shift is deep tech startup 6 Sense Mobility, which has just raised 44 crore rupees in a pre-Series A round led by ace investor Ashish Kacholia with participation from Piper Serica Angel Fund. Now, the IIT Delhi incubated company is building full-stack automotive electronics from telematics to intelligent control systems and positioning itself as a Tier 1 technology partner to leading OEMs like Volvo Eicher Commercial Vehicles and Sonalika Tractors. Joining us now to discuss this further is Sumit Roy, the CEO and co-founder of 6 Sense Mobility. Sumit, thank you so much for taking time out and being here with us on Startup Street. Like I just pointed out, you've positioned yourself as this full-stack Tier 1 supplier, right? How does that sort of differentiate you from traditional auto component manufacturers in India? If you could sort of take us through what you have on offer.
Thank you so much, first of all, for having me here on the show. And to answer your question, being a full stack company allows us, number one, to cut down the design and development time and go-to-market time for any technology considerably. The traditional standards were about 3 to 5 years before a technology could be taken onto the roads. We have been able to do that in less than 12 months, sometimes even lesser. And number two, the cost associated with it, since not multiple parties are involved, we are the only ones who's developing the hardware, we are the ones who's developing the firmware and the software, and also manufacturing the full product. Being a full stack company allows us to cut down on the cost considerably and allow the OEM to procure our material at a much cheaper price. So effectively bringing down the cost of the entire vehicle and making the technology more available for the OEMs to use.
So you're sort of democratizing the technology stack that's available for the players that you're working with, and you're bringing down the cost, right? So you've got about 25,000 to 30,000 devices already deployed and 160 crore rupees order book, right? What's your current revenue and margin benchmarks at the company?
So we're targeting to do about 15 crores of revenue this year, but in the next 18 months, and that's again considering the electronic supply chain has gone through a bit of a rough patch here. But in the next 18 to 24 months, we are targeting to do over 200 crores because we have that order book and we have the visibility. One of the reasons of setting up a plant exceeding a capacity of 1 million units is the order book that we have. So yes, I mean, it's exciting times for us right now.
Exciting times, but you did point out, the supply chain has had a bit of a tough time, right? So is that back to normal? What are the challenges right now ahead of you?
The primary challenge, I'd say, is maintaining the supply chain and making sure the global crises don't impact India. And I think we have positioned ourselves well enough. We've got fantastic vendor supports from our network, and we've built a fantastic supply chain management system. So I think we're very well positioned to deliver to our customers exactly what they need, and in the next 18 to 24 months. I think we can't just meet our targets, but I think we'll be able to beat our targets as well.
So not just meet your targets, but beat your targets over the next 12 to 16 months. But, you've raised these funds, right? So how much of this fresh capital is going to go into that new Noida manufacturing plant, versus the other places that you plan on deploying it, which is R&D and product development?
So a considerable amount will be going towards the Noida manufacturing plant. I mean, we are spending about roughly about 12 to 15 crores to set up the manufacturing facility. And this would be one of the most advanced facilities that will come up, around the Noida vicinity, specifically for manufacturing of automotive components. We'll have the entire manufacturing chain from hardware, firmware, software completely in-house, and the entire building will have a product control system where you can see the product coming to life from a prototype stage to completely going to a manufacturing stage and a full scale supply from the same plant. So yes, that's the plan for the Noida plant.
That's the plan for the Noida plant. And, India still imports a large portion of high-end automotive electronics, right? So how realistic is it to fully indigenize this segment, and what technical barriers remain on this front?
India used to and still continues to import a considerable amount of electronics, and when it comes to advanced engineering material. But I think startups like us and other startups are now slowly breaking down that barrier and indigenizing these technologies. I mean, complex technologies like telemetry communication units aren't simple GPS tracking systems. They are extremely complex technologies. And not just that, we're also building the V2V vehicle to vehicle and vehicle to everything network that is in line with the government of India's vision, along with ADAS. So all of these technologies that we earlier India considered, that we need to import from other countries, I think over the next 12 to 18 months, you'll see them being indigenized completely in India, and suppliers like Sixth Sense Mobility will be supplying to not just domestic OEMs, but global OEMs as well.
So not just domestic, but global OEMs. And speaking about that, you're working with major OEMs. How long is the typical sales and integration cycle in automotive? And what does scaling partnerships actually look like? And, what are these global OEMs that you're eyeing? And are you already in talks with them?
So honestly, this is not an easy journey. And I think we've been extremely fortunate. Our partners, our mentors, and especially my team has been a phenomenal support in this. Cracking an OEM, being just a 2.5, 3-year-old company isn't really easy. You really need to have solid tech in your corner to be able to crack these OEMs. And a typical sales pipeline would look like about 6 to 8 months of journey is the least that you could expect from an OEM. And then comes the product development and conceptualization. But we've been able to break down the entire length of the sales cycle down to 12 months. So first 2 months of conversation and product conceptualization, and then to prototyping and validation and final delivery of the product.
All right, Sumit, we're completely out of time, but thank you so much for joining us on the show, and we wish you all the best on this journey going forward.
Thank you so much for having me. Hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. On that note, it is time for us to head into a short break. But coming up next, Zepto brings its quick commerce model to the Bharat Mandapam at the India AI Summit. We take you inside to see how 10-minute deliveries are powered in real time. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're still with us on Startup Street at the India AI Summit here at the Bharat Mandapam. Zepto has brought its quick commerce model on ground with a live dark store setup. Aishwarya Anand takes you inside to see how 10-minute deliveries are powered in real time.
I am inside Zepto's delivery hub, which is right here at India AI Summit, and this is essentially a fully operational quick commerce setup built right on the summit floor. You've got real inventory, real pickers, real packaging happening in real time, and every order being placed by attendees is actually getting processed from this very space. From AI-led inventory planning to rapid fulfillment on the ground, this is a working demo of how a 5-minute delivery promise is powered behind the scenes.
Hyperlocal e-commerce is a format unique to India. There's a lot of technology and operational excellence that goes into making it possible for customers. We think it's a world-class service that you don't find even in developed countries, makes people's lives easier. And thousands of people have experienced it. Hopefully people are going to take back stories when they go back to their home countries in Europe or the US or other parts of the world, in Asia.
A social media user shared that she received food within 5 minutes of ordering during a packed summit. So is this indicative of Zepto's real-world delivery promise, or was this a curated demo?
If you look at the store behind me, it's like an actual dark store that we have on the field. It's obviously smaller, but it's processing, like you mentioned, 1,000 orders. Yesterday, we did 1,700 orders in that space. So the demand is there. The operations are as close to the real thing as we can get in this place.
All right. Now, having a dark store inside Bharat Mandapam is unusual for a quick commerce player.
Sure.
Okay. So do you see this kind of deployment, micro-fulfillment infrastructure co-located with large events becoming a more regular strategy for Zepto?
So look, I mean, obviously this is relatively small in the grand scheme of things of our overall business. So I don't think it'll become a business vertical, definitely not. But it is just an opportunity to showcase, the innovation and the tech stack that we've built and the operational stack that we've built, right? So we'll definitely take up opportunities to keep showing the good work we've done, because we feel like we're on the cutting edge of, tech-native companies in India. We feel like we're on the cutting edge of the implementation of AI in real-world use cases, and we think it's an example that, the industry is an example that the country can be proud of, because not only there's a lot of software and operational excellence that goes behind it, there's a lot of job creation and real-world economic value, right? There are hundreds of thousands of delivery partners, pickers, packers on our rolls as well, and we think it's a good thing for the country, so we're excited.
Another thing that I want to understand from you is that your value proposition has always been super fast delivery in metros, right? Have regulatory conversations around 10-minute delivery impacted or changed the way you're looking at your operations right now? Is that something that you're considering?
Look, no, our operations stayed exactly the same. No changes over the past 2 years, 3 years per se. We obviously have spoken about, our engagement with the Labour Minister and the Labour Ministry about, suggestions that he had. I spoke about it publicly. Mansukh ji was, is very supportive. In a way, the environment the government has created for innovation and corporate growth and companies to grow has created all this employment. So his point of view is, we want to, I believe at least the government's point of view is, how do we keep creating this employment flywheel and how do we keep accelerating it? Within that, how do we make it seamless so that it's not controversial or creates issues? Of course, there are basic constraints in businesses, right? But within those constraints, if there are constructive suggestions on how we can improve, always happy to do it. But so far, so good.
Okay, one final question. While I know you're in the silent period, just want to understand some of the milestone targets that you would have in terms of your economics, in terms of your expansion. What does that look like?
So obviously, we can't talk about it, but hopefully soon it becomes a public domain and then we can talk about it more freely. We're just heads down executing. We think execution is the key component of this business. If you execute, you'll do well, and that's what we're focused on. Just heads down execution.
India's manufacturers are increasingly turning to AI and robotics to boost productivity and improve quality. In an interaction with CNBC TV18's Meghna Sen, Saugan KM of Teradyne Robotics said policy frameworks are in place and partnerships like NVIDIA are accelerating human-robot collaboration. He added that automation will create more value-added jobs, even as factory and IT readiness remain key hurdles.
So I think India is becoming the global manufacturing hub. So definitely there will be an adoption of robots and cobots on large scale. The policies and the frameworks are in place. I think Indian manufacturers who look for high productivity and great quality are looking at cutting-edge technology to improve their factory output.
You're working closely with NVIDIA. So how do you think NVIDIA's AI platforms, will help collaborate Indian humans and robots work together in the next decade?
Again, they are a very strong partner for Universal Robots and MIR and as a part of Teradyne Robotics. The platform that they provide and the compute power they can offer us is phenomenally strong. So that is where we thrive on and then take it to the next level with that.
To what extent do you think automation and AI will replace human jobs, and which sectors are at risk?
I don't think replacement of jobs is usually seen as a part of such technology. There will be, so what we're trying to do is we are going to move from dumb, dirty, dangerous task to very meaningful jobs. So the whole idea what we're trying to do is, even this training kit that we have in display over here, is to say how colleges of today can adopt this, learn robotics and automation, and produce very high talented resources for the market.
What are the challenges that enterprises are facing these days to deploy AI-enabled robots, especially when you talk about emerging countries like India?
One of them is our operation factory ready to adopt these. One is their operational factories and the maturity of it. The other one is their IT maturity. Both of them have to come together. And then there's always a vision of a leader. So with all these three, if it's combined in the perfect mix, I think that's not a big challenge. It's just a hurdle that we should be able to overcome and bring in high quality manufacturing into this country.
It's time to take stock of all the deals from the startup world. According to Venture Intelligence, this week saw a total of 20 deals worth $124 million. Some of the notable deals include fixed return investment platform Stable Money, which raised $25 million from Fundamentum. EV charging network Static raised $18 million from Shell Technology Ventures, while chip design company C2I Semiconductors raised $15 million from Peak 15 Ventures. That's not all. AI apps building platform Portkey gets $15 million from Elevation Capital and Lightspeed Ventures, while jewelry chain Jiva raises $12 million in an extended Series C round from Kenro Capital, Premji Invest and Titan Capital. This year has seen a total of 146 deals worth $1.1 billion, according to Venture Intelligence. And with that, it is a wrap on this edition of Startup Street. More news and updates coming up on the other side. Stay tuned.